I'm Hunter Jones, pro surfer and filmmaker.
And I'm Lex Weinstein, surfer and environmental activist.
We're going on an epic road trip exploring iconic California surf towns.
Exploring the waves and people that make these towns so influential on global surf culture, past, present, and future.
And of course, tasting the best burritos along the way.
Welcome to Detour Surf Towns, presented by Hydro Flask.
San Francisco is the traditional and unceded homeland of the Ohlone people. The original people of the San Francisco peninsula are the Ramaytush Ohlone, with Ocean Beach being the homeland of the Yemalu Ramaytush and Pacifica the homeland of the Aramai Ramaytush.
Google 54 cool things to do in San Francisco for a list that starts with walk across the Golden Gate Bridge and ends with lunch in Union Square. Way down at number 30 is stand-up paddleboarding on the bay. No mention of surfing on the list. None at all. 19th and early 20th century San Franciscans were also drawn to the city's shore. So it's weird that even all these years later, people rarely associate surfing with San Francisco, considering it's essentially a beach town. There must have been some reason that Jack O'Neill opened the world's first surf shop here in 1952, but for some reason it's just never clicked with the rest of the world, and even the rest of the city's residents, that San Francisco has great surf and lots of it. So let's work on a new list of cool things to do in San Francisco, if you're a surfer. Number 1, enjoy really good small to medium high-performance waves at Kelly's Cove and VFWs. Number 2, let the others walk or bike across it. Instead, paddle out with your head dry and surf at Fort Point, one of the world's most picturesque surf spots. Number 3, score the biggest barrel of your life at South Ocean Beach, home to one of the world's best big wave beach breaks. If you can get out, that is. Number 4, when Ocean Beach gets too big to ride, head a few miles down the coast, find a spot on a boat, and watch from the channel as the world's best big wave riders take on Mavericks, the heavy water capital of North American surfing. These are just a few of the cool things you can do as a surfer in San Francisco. Everybody else? Hey, try number 2 on that first list.
Ocean Beach is known for a lot of things.
Big waves, cold water, howling wind, and potentially the best barrel of your life.
We met up with big wave surfer and changemaker Bianca Valenti at the wave that changed her life forever.
It's a 3-mile-long beach in the western part of San Francisco, and it's kind of like a combination of a Class 5 river and a big wave. Because the bay goes 400 square miles, so every time the tide switches, whether the waves are 2 feet or 20 feet, you've got all the water from the bay moving in and out. To love Ocean Beach is to love punishment and hard work.
What makes this place work?
Clean conditions, offshore winds are ideal. Really, we pick up any kind of swell. It literally is never flat here. It's a beach break, so could be high tide, could be low tide. It just depends on the sandbars, which are moving all the time. You can always find a peak that's uncrowded, which is cool.
How's the vibe out in the water?
Up here in the northern end, this is Kelly's Cove, and you shouldn't really surf Kelly's Cove unless you are an advanced or expert level skilled surfer.
For someone who would come and surf here for the first time, what would you tell them? Like, obviously, like you said, this might not be the best place for beginners, but like, what would be the advice you give people?
I'd say rule number 1 about Ocean Beach, it's always bigger than it looks. I almost died here when I was in college, it was like in 2009. And I got here, it was in November, and I saw perfect A-frames, offshore winds, nobody out. Paddled out, had no idea how big it was, and all of a sudden, there was a wave that was just like the size of a house, squaring off and breaking about like 10 feet in front of me. I tried to duck dive it because I was wearing a comp light leash, and immediately my board was ripped out of my hands and I was spinning like every which way, just getting completely throttled and ragdolled. And I opened my eyes and it was dark and I had no idea which way was up, and then my foot touched the sand. I had like pretty much no energy left, and I just slowly swam to the surface, probably 3 strokes, and I thought, wow, if there's one more wave behind this, I'm gonna die. And I just didn't even have any emotion about it because it just felt like a fact. And luckily there was no wave behind it. And then I came to shore. That was the day that I decided that I wanted to surf big waves. I commit to that and I never looked back. I started putting in the training and the preparation and getting the right gear, and here I am today.
That's
Wow.
incredible.
That's a wild story. Thanks for sharing that.
So a near-death drowning experience turned you into an iconic big wave surfer.
If you can surf out here every day, you can surf anywhere in the world.
What's your favorite time of year to surf? Equipment?
My favorite time of year to surf here is end of August through March. You need big boards because it starts breaking really far out, and so you need to be able to traverse the lineup, and you could paddle out on one block and then end up 3 blocks down or a mile down just like in the snap of a finger. I ride Bob Pearson's boards, and he's such a legend and really like at the peak of his career, and he's 72 years old. Then you want to have a 5'4" wetsuit with a hood, booties. I don't really use gloves ever. It's good to have multiple wetsuits.
Why are you a big wave surfer? What is it for you?
I remember the first wave I ever caught when I was 7 years old, and I was like super scared, and then I caught it and I went like left, then right, then left again, and I just had this feeling of like, oh my gosh, I did it. And that was probably like a half a foot wave, and then I was like, oh, maybe I could do a 1 foot wave. And so it was just like baby steps and a gradual progression, exploring what's possible within myself.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's an endless pursuit.
Yeah.
What was it like having a CT contest here?
It was awesome to see the world's best surfers come to surf our wave and to see what they could and couldn't do. So it felt refreshing because we saw them struggle, we saw them succeed. I was on the beach when Kelly fake won the title. He got this insane, really long onshore barrel, and he completely disappeared, and then all of a sudden he popped out of nowhere just like Kelly does. And we were all on the beach just cheering and going, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And then he got cheered up because they thought that was the title clincher, but they had miscalculated the points.
Oh
so
my God.
People who are inspired and looking to explore and build things that have never been done before. So I love being a part of that community and that mindset, and that is so similar to big wave surfing. It's just like exploring what is possible.
Well said.
Yeah.
Rad.
Ocean Beach. Best board, step up to gun. Best swell direction, northwest, west-northwest, and west. Best tide, varies with swell direction. Best time of the year, fall through spring. Crowd factor low, skill level advanced.
Hunter and I are on a quest to find the best post-surf burrito.
Scoring them on the Burrito Meter, a non-scientific and completely biased rating system based on our taste buds.
For SF's Burrito Meter, we decided to mix it up and go to Hookfish, just inland from Ocean Beach, for Sushi-ritos.
Welcome to the final installment of Burrito Meter. We got our burritos from Hookfish Co.
Mine is a poke burrito.
I got a fish burrito. It's fried fish. Got some purple rice of some sort.
Purple cabbage. The purple cabbage turned the white rice purple, silly.
I like to believe that it's purple rice.
There's also some radishes, black beans, and all sorts of good veggies in here, so I'm pretty frothing. Yeah.
We had burritos and encinitas at
Fish 101. Let's give it a whirl. Let's hear your thoughts.
This is number 2 on my list. Better than Fish 101. Hookfish Co. takes the win there,
Wow, nice.
but not the overall win.
How come it's better than Fish 101?
The tortilla's insane. I like the crispy fish.
Nice.
And what you didn't see is we killed some fries earlier. This might be an 8.
Considering it's not traditional Mexican, it's not number 1 on the list. The one we had yesterday in Santa Cruz is probably number 1 for me. But a good sushi burrito, or as I like to call it, a sushi-rito, is pretty top-notch for me. So I'm gonna give it a 9.4.
Number 2, Hookfish Co.
Hookfish Co.
Surf culture can only be as strong as the community that builds it. In looking forward, we wanted to recognize people and organizations that are striving to create a better world through surfing.
One of my favorite organizations to work with is the City Surf Project, run by Johnny Irwin. City Surf Project ensures Bay Area youth have equitable access to the ocean through surfing.
We met up with the crew at Pacifica, where they were running free surf lessons for the kids.
What exactly is City Surf Project for those that may not know here?
So City Surf Project is a youth surfing program, but it's focused on youth development, using surfing as a vehicle to teach life skills, build a connection to nature, and teach healthy habits to youth, and also bring surfing to groups of people that wouldn't normally get a chance. Just being able to push someone into a wave is super fulfilling, because it's almost better than getting your own wave, because you've affected somebody else and you get stoked from doing that. I'm one of the co-founders. About 7 years ago, when I was working as a high school teacher, took my kids on a surfing field trip just to show them a sport that had given me so much, and just wanted to share the experience with them. And we went out surfing, and everyone that went came back and said that they loved it, that the experience was amazing. A lot of them had never been surfing before, had never been to the beach before, and so that was sort of where the idea of the program came about.
How is it for their first time? Are they scared and nervous? Or are they just so curious and eager?
There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of like, what am I going to do? It's cold. The waves are big. This is something I've never done before. There's a lot of excitement too, of like trying something new, of like going over that roller coaster for the first time. Afterwards, without a doubt, no matter what the experience was, they come out and they're stoked. Like awesome. The cliche goes, it's just smiling ear to ear.
How do you hope that City Surf Project shapes the community, the surf community here in San Fran?
At the most, they pick up surfing and they really identify with surfing and identify as a surfer. And then they actually influence the San Francisco surf scene. So it becomes one that's more diverse, that's more representative of different backgrounds, and then bring about just a more diverse scene that's representative of all San Francisco, not just certain neighborhoods, not just certain pockets, but all over San Francisco.
It was important for Hunter and I to celebrate the unsung heroes, the diehards, and the ocean lovers who have been uniquely influential on the local surf culture over the decades, the Saltiest Locals. Our Saltiest Local, nominated by Johnny, goes by the well-earned nickname Outer Bar Amber.
Nickname is Outer Bar Amber, given by the youngsters coming up here in Kelly's Cove, because she does sit really far out, and you can always tell it's Amber because she's sitting way out the back. So Amber, please, What's with that?
There's two things. You know, as much as I love my brothers in the water, they talk a lot, and I don't like to hear the chatter in the water. I also like set waves.
Are there many women out in the water? I'm sure sometimes it's just you.
Being that I grew up with all brothers, it's very nostalgic and makes me feel at home. The brotherhood is strong.
I'm sure that was a competitive way to grow up with brothers, and I'm sure like you could relate to the ocean, how you're like battling against yourself in that way.
Yeah, all boy household is definitely a challenge physically to grow up in. I was pushed to my limits, always. That's probably why I like Ocean Beach.
Well, in honor of all that you've done to contribute to San Francisco surf culture here at Ocean Beach, we are here to present you with a Saltiest Local trophy and Hydro Flask gift.
Oh, that's sweet. Thank you, guys.
Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. We're psyched.
What a trip.
I think that surf under the Golden Gate Bridge was like probably the perfect way to end this whole journey.
She has to get the end clip of the series. In Fort Point, we get a set like that every 5 minutes. And she has one opportunity before the leg goes down. She's gonna get the wave of the trip right now.
I can't believe I got to surf with no one around and the sun setting. I think the sea otter I saw out there was the only soul for the whole time I was there. So special.
It gives me a whole new appreciation of, how beautiful the California coastline is and how many other things there are to still discover. But it almost gives me this like new passion and this new drive to like, okay, let's go explore. Let's check out some new waves. Let me go spend some time at these other places, because that's what makes surfing so special. and like getting to go surf these waves that, you know, we're unfamiliar with, but like still feeling at home. I don't know, there's something really special about that.
Totally. I think that when we think of surf trips, we think of getting in a plane and flying 30 hours to go somewhere super exotic and far. And we forget that, you know, within a few hours drive from home are some pristine coastlines and some iconic waves. We're so lucky to live in California, and I definitely think this experience was truly the love letter to California that I was looking forward to.
Yeah, we met so many new people, got some new friends. You know, we met up with the local pros and got the full insight on the waves and like walked away with a lot of knowledge, you know? And for me, I was stoked to be able to share that with everyone who watched.
One of my favorite parts is definitely seeing how surfers are using their platform to really address some of the biggest issues, whether it's environmental, social, just really bringing the community together to make a difference.
We're all connected by the ocean in ways, and it's like this cool thing where you just get to meet someone and we're about the same things. And that was really rewarding for me. Thank you, surfing.
Thank you, surfing.